feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back, you beauties. I'm sorry, I'm just reveling in being around my mates again, man. I've missed Cape Town so much, even with the crazy weather. So good to be back.
Thank you.
So good to have you back as we fly you to the moon. Literally, man, we're going to have a little bit of fun now getting into one of the latest movie releases, Fly Me to the Moon, big stars. But it's a little bit streamy, according to Mr. JP Sebastian. But that's a term, right, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. And I know we're not supposed to say this name on SABC, but like there's a Netflix-ness to the look of some things. And this one is produced by Apple.
Okay.
TV.
Oh, wow.
So it's not necessarily that it's a good or bad thing, but there's too much of a signature look that some of us might be getting tired of.
I found it with like Extraction was the same. It was like, this should be a big thing, but it's not.
There's weird parameters and technical constraints that it looks like. Obviously, like these streaming services, they put constraints on gear, like you're only allowed to use this. But whatever.
So you're tired of the recipe, is what you're saying, JP?
I mean, like the way people having all sorts of conversations about fatigues and stuff, superhero fatigue and whatever else. Maybe I'm just at my limit, who knows. But it's not a terrible movie. You know what? I'm jumping the gun, though. Let's get on the rocket and have a look at Fly Me to the Moon from the horse's mouths themselves. That's Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. These are huge names. Have any of you heard of this movie? Like,
I'm going to be honest and say no, yeah.
I thought it came out like 5 years ago, to be honest.
1969. That's when anyway, sending you to the moon, to the movie. Yeah, it is.
I don't know if you've ever met anybody that all of a sudden you just like share too much with, like immediately.
You're the most beautiful woman that I've seen longer than I can remember, and I have a very good memory.
Then he like runs away and never thinking that he's ever gonna see her again. And then obviously he sees her a lot.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon. They're very different people. They come from very different places.
NASA's not something that you sell with a jingle and a slogan.
When I'm done, those men are going to be bigger than the Beatles. They have a shared goal,
Apollo 11 will land our men on the moon.
but different ways of getting there. Turn this into the moon.
So you're gonna lie?
It's called selling.
This just looks like a dirty beach.
No, it's called lying.
She just comes in like a bowling ball and just starts wrecking things.
Am I interrupting?
Always.
Or fixing things, I would
Wrecking
say.
them and then putting them back together in a better way is where I was going.
It's a romantic comedy.
They just don't make movies like this anymore.
For sure. The chemistry seems to be there, which is cute enough.
Sure.
Set the premise. 'Cause it
Rocket
seems to
science
be
is not just chemistry.
dated.
Stupid idiot. So you got a bit of a taste there of what's going on, but I said that I was saying to other people as well, it's not necessarily, maybe it's me, maybe it's the movie itself that's not sure what it wants to be, whether it's a rom-com, whether it's a space epic, whether it's, you know, a heisty type thing about the faking of the moon landing or anything. JP just says, the faking of the moon landing. No, I believe it really happened. Raul's giving me side-eye there. We'll have a
Hang on now.
So to put it into a better perspective, Scarlett Johansson is this sort of like marketing genius. Think Mad Men, you know, that type of thing. And there is a public disinterest creeping in because of the expenses of stuff like the Vietnam War, with the idea of having a lunar project. And geez, maybe this is a conversation we're having today. It's like, hey, Earth is burning. Do you want to go to Mars, guys? Anyway, so that ties in. And then also might even tie into the fact that we're privatizing space a lot. So she brings in like brand sponsorship.
It's going to happen, man.
Oh, geez.
So, bro, this is actually quite interesting because it's almost like a premonition of the world we're living in right now.
Man, it doesn't do me favors though, because hey, JP is an old commie that he is, as usual. The Soviets got there without the branding, and the Soviets actually won the race. I can argue that for
but
you.
how many people had to die to get us there?
Well,
That's the
including
thing,
in this
and
movie where
animals,
Channing Tatum has to deal with the fact that he basically lost American astronauts to mistakes. They died on both sides. So she has her past that she's coming from too. She seems to be running away from something, even though she's this, you know, finger guns type suave marketing person, but hidden underneath that there are layers. And him as well, there are layers, if you can believe that, under that tight shirt, of him having his own past that he's struggling with, having possibly felt like he failed those previous astronauts who died in testing, etc., etc. All of that stuff will come to the fore in its own, and JP doesn't want to give away too much, because like you said, it's the chemistry that it's about to. But on top of that, so on top of the rom-com, hey, you got Woody Harrelson, that's good news, I like him. He plays this, is he CIA? Agent, this go-between who weasels her into NASA, and obviously the scientists are not happy with the marketers. They bang heads because, well, you know, can engineering and branding ever meet? We have these problems here too. But That's just the facts of life, and I suppose it worked out in the end. But on the side, as a side dish, which feels like a betrayal to him, she doesn't tell him that she is told by this secret agency, secretly in parallel film landing just in case stuff goes sideways.
So basically, there's truth in everything.
But my problem, if I give you a quick evaluation, is that I don't know that it reaches 100% mark with each aspect. It's not the perfect rom-com, and I know nothing can be, and it's not perfectly trying to be in space epic, and it's not perfectly trying to be this heisty type Ocean's 11 type feeling. There are better movies that you can watch for each one of these things, and it's not a total failure in those respects. It's just like, what do you want movie? Like, and this is one of the reasons that maybe they didn't know how to market this to people. Is this going to be a couple's night movie?
What lane does it sit
Is this a
in,
Gravity
for
movie?
sure,
Is this Apollo 13? Is this an Oceans type thing? So yeah, it's got bright and funny moments. The chemistry is sweet enough. It's hard to believe Channing Tatum is a science genius. But let's have a look at the chemistry first.
Give him
What
a
I was
shot,
saying there,
man.
that tension between the branding versus the science, and can those two worlds coexist? Maybe they can on a single heavenly body, the moon. Yeah, it is fun.
Omega.
Look, this isn't Madison Avenue. We don't pay for this stuff.
No, it's cost-free. The brands get a tie-in money can't buy, and NASA works its way into the minds of everyday people.
A watch ad. That's your big idea?
Ready? Toothpaste. Tang. The energy breakfast drink chosen for Apollo astronauts on their trip to the moon.
Moon coupons.
But my personal favorite? Fruit of the Loom, right? The guys gotta wear something under those big suits, don't they?
Says NASA, like Fruit of the Loom. Look, I am not turning this ship into a flying billboard, no matter how much you want it to happen. And, by the way, we don't have time to test all this before liftoff.
We don't have to send any of this up into space as long as we say it went.
Oh, so you're gonna lie?
It's called selling. We're not lying to the customer. We're changing the way they think.
No, it's called lying.
Okay, I'm calling it a rom-com.
Okay.
I'm calling it a rom-com.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Go in there with your own arrow, with your own trajectory of how you're going to watch the thing.
But isn't every story a love story, my bro?
Oh, wow.
He
My
says
job
as he-
right
as he
there.
looks deeply into my eyes, so the quivering lip. Yes, right now.
It's the human story, okay? Should people go and
That
watch
was your-
this, or should people be
Your
trepidatious?
worst pickup line. So yeah, like I said, if I think maybe if it did. Even in stuff like the score, I'll put it this way: there will be whole scenes where if you change just the music, it becomes a thriller. And then if you change the music again, it would become a Achempis kind of scene. Movies probably shouldn't be able to flick-flack that easily based on one dimension to itself. So sadly, I can only give it 5 out of 10. Even though I love Channing Tatum, even though I love Scarlett Johansson, I've got a big soft spot for Channing Tatum. I just do not know what this movie sort of wanted from us.
Well, we're calling it the year's biggest rom-com. Go and check it out for yourself. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Fly Me to the Moon. I think there is going to be a little bit of something in for everybody. So go open your mind and explore. Well, I know it's not that far away. It's just the moon, but we haven't been there in 50 years. So maybe it's time that we went back.
Out tomorrow.